wine program. I couldn't think of a more important reason to come back and start filming again. As you probably have heard, the wine industry has suffered a major loss over the weekend. This is from the Santa Barbara Independent, written by Matt Kedeman. Jim Clendenen, Albonclemont co-founder and owner, one of the most important vintners in Santa Barbara County history, an influential force on the international wine scene, died in his sleep over the weekend. He was 68 years old. So who is Jim Clendenen? Why is he a guy you need to know? Why is he a winemaker you need to know? Well, to put it quite simply, Clendenen was not only a visionary and a pioneer, but he was a bigger-than-life personality. If you get on Facebook right now and you visit some of your wine friends, I'm sure they're all talking about how much they knew and loved Jim Clendenen and how many people he mentored in the business and how many people he had a major impact on. But to put it quite simply, he had a vision to make world-class wine in Santa Barbara when most everyone else was making bulk wine, fruit-forward wine, sweet wine, heavily manipulated wines. Clendenen was inspired by his trip to Burgundy, where he not only fell in love with the wines of Burgundy, but he fell in love with the lifestyle, the work ethic, the philosophy, the spirit of Burgundy, and that passion where in Burgundy, you know, they're making wine. They're not messing around. And he wanted to bring that style and that philosophy and that spirit back to Santa Barbara. And he believed he could make world-class wine, terroir-driven wine, ageable wine, in a place where arguably nobody was really talking about it at the time, in like late 70s, early 80s, right? Clendenen co-founded Albonclemont in 1982. This was after he did 3 years at Zaca Mesa, which I think is in Santa Ynez. He co-founded Albonclemont with Adam Tolmack. Adam Tolmack now I think is Ojai Vineyard, and Clendenen became the sole owner of Albonclemont. And he was focused primarily on grapes grown in Santa Maria Valley, particularly the Bien Nacido vineyard. He made leaner wines than California's typical New World style at the time. He did it by picking at lower bricks, lower sugar levels, using less new oak, and emphasizing acid and structure over ripeness. But that's not really all he did. But what was really, really special about Clendenen was his personality and his work ethic. I mean, yeah, again, he was a winemaker, yes, but he was also a salesman and a marketer and a bigger-than-life character. On my very first trip to a wine region and a winery, I was working at Webster Wine Bar at the time, and we flew into LAX from Chicago. We rented 2 minivans and we drove about 3 hours to Santa Maria Valley in Santa Barbara County. We went to Bien Nacido Vineyard and we tasted from barrels with Bob Lindquist and Jim Clendenen. Lindquist is also a legend, but he's a different story. Today we're talking about Clendenen. Clendenen was the first guy I ever saw dip a pipette into a barrel and pour it in my wine glass. He was the first guy I ever saw spit wine into a drain on a floor and throw it like that. He was really, at the time, very important figure, and he was taking time out of his day to meet with a bunch of young knucklehead waiters and waitresses from some wine bar in Chicago, many of us who didn't really know that much about wine at all. Again, tireless marketer, tireless salesman. About a year later, he was in Chicago working the market with his reps, and after a day of visiting accounts and pushing his wines, he came to Webster Wine Bar that night to do like a guest bartender thing, and he had a camel pack full of Pinot Noir on his back with a spigot that he was going around and shooting wine into people's glasses, spraying it into their mouths, talking about his wine, promoting Santa Barbara, promoting himself. You know, it's not enough to make good wine. Sometimes you need a front man, like a rock band needs a great front man. That was Jim Clendenen for Santa Barbara wine. So without him, there may never have been a Raj Parr or a Sashi Mormon or a Chris Kern. There may never have been a Rex Pickett to write Sideways or get the movie made, because there may not have been such a thriving wine community up there to really talk about, in my opinion. Clendenen definitely let the world know that it was okay to make balanced, precise, sophisticated wines in Santa Barbara County, and eventually the trend caught up to him. So he was doing one thing for 40 years, and the wine world finally kind of caught up to him. And that's really special. When you could stick to your philosophy, stick to your guns as an artist or a creator, you know how much pressure there is to do what's in vogue or do what's selling, but to do what you want to do until it starts to sell and the critics and everybody else kind of catches up with you, that's a big deal. So I want to close with this quote. This is from the Matt Kedeman piece. I guess he wrote a book called Vines and Visions. And in 2020, Clendenen told him, "In Bordeaux, you have to own a castle and possess a title to make wine. You have to come from empowered roots. But when you spend time in Burgundy, you realize that it doesn't matter if you're making a few barrels in a garage or in one of the estates. If you work hard at what you do, you can become the king of the village, the most important winemaker in the world. And in a way, that's exactly what Jim Clendenen did. He became a world famous, not just locally famous, winemaker from Santa Barbara. And he made Santa Barbara County world famous. And that is no small feat. So I just want to raise a glass to Jim Clendenen without getting too corny. Long live Albonclemont and long live Santa Barbara wines. I'm going to come back in a minute and we're going to review this Pinot Noir from Albonclemont. This is the 2018 Santa Barbara County Pinot Noir. Adios and peace and BRB, guys.